You turn my mourning into dancing. You turn my mourning into dancing. You turn my mourning into dancing. 'Cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. Oh, there's something about your love. Something about your love changes everything in my body. Oh, something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. Changes everything. Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything. You turn my mourning into dancing. 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 Something about your love. Something about your love changes everything.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I am running late to get to the office, so we're pulled on over, and we're gonna do it from my car. Um, but yeah, let's see who's on. Chuck B, good morning. Bert Reggiani, Pamela C, Dr. Colleen, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's a beautiful day. I'm just loving this weather we're having this week. All right, so grab your bibli eyes, and we're going to be in uh, Luke the 20th chapter, and the first 8 verses. All right, so but while you are finding your Bibles, I'm not going to be able to pull it up on the screen today. Um, hey, Emily Connolly jumped on here. Good morning to you. Um, while you guys are finding your Bibles, I'm going to actually jump back to chapter 19 and read the last two chapters or last two verses. It kind of gives a little context. So every day, Jesus was teaching in the temple, but the chief priests and the teachers of the law and the leaders amongst the people were trying to kill him. Yet they could not find any way to do it because all the people hung on his word. And so Jesus is pretty much taking over the temple, right? This is right after he built the whip. He's called it, his house should be a house of prayer. You guys made it a den of robbers, all that jazz. And so now he's just taking over the temple. And this is like a week before the crucifixion, right? And so he's just in the temple teaching every single day. And it's awesome, right? But these scribes, these Pharisees are trying to trap him. They're trying to get into his head, trying to find any cracks so that they can, get the people to turn against him. Hey, Karen Thompson jumped on. Good morning to you. All right, so uh, now you got your Bibles. You're in chapter 20. Let's go ahead and jump on in. And it says, one day as Jesus was teaching the people, in the temple courts, and proclaiming the good news, the chief priests and the teachers of the law, together with the elders, came up to him. Tell us by what authority you are doing these things. They said, who gave you this authority? He replied, I will also ask a question. Tell me, John's baptism, was it from heaven or of human origin? They discussed they discussed it amongst themselves and said, if you say from heaven, if we say from heaven, he will ask, well, why didn't you believe him? But if we say of human origin, all the people will stone us because they are persuaded that John was a prophet. So they answered, we do not know where it was from. Jesus said, neither will I tell you by what authority I am doing these things. Whoa. Come on, guys. It's so good. So I love it. Like, so these guys are trying to trap Jesus, and Jesus hits them back with this question that just, it stumps them, right? They want to say that it's it was from humans, right? Like, because we couldn't recognize it, right? Same reason they can't recognize Jesus. They just see something coming after their authority, something coming after their power, their status, and they're rejecting it. And so it's like, what seminary did you go to? What Bible school did you go to? How do you have this authority? Who told you, you can do these things and come against us? We went to we went to four-year theology school, and like all the stuff, like and I think that's my exhortation today, is just like, man, there's so many times where other people try to disqualify us, or we try to disqualify ourselves by human standards and human expectations of whatever. Oh, I didn't go to school for that. I didn't do this, and I don't have this certificate. And we disqualify ourselves, or other people try to disqualify us. But how many know that ordination comes from heaven, right? Like God ordains you. God has given you the authority to do things, right? And sometimes it's, me, I'm always going to talk about evangelism. Sometimes it's about evangelism. Like, I can't go out and preach the gospel because, there's still things I question, or I don't know all the answers. I never went to school for this, and all these other things, and we disqualify ourselves. And so we say, like, no, I'm not going to do it. Somebody else has to go. Somebody else, right? And I'm going to say, no, not so. Like, that's a trick of the enemy. Like you can preach the gospel. Even if you're one day old in Jesus, you can preach the gospel to somebody who's no day old in Jesus, right? Like you have been given the authority by Christ, right? You've been commissioned through the Great Commission from the Lord Himself to go out and preach the gospel, make disciples, right? You've been given the ministry of reconciliation, reconciling hearts back to God. And so it's time for us to use that authority. It's time for us to step out and with no fear of man, but fear of God, and say, like, God, you can use me. I'm going to be bold for you. I'm going to stand out, and I'm going to do this thing. And when we go, right, just like in the end of the Great Commission, He says, lo, I'll be with you always, right? Like, God's going to be with us. Like, we don't have to worry about God. He always is faithful. He's not a man that He shall lie. And if He says He's going to be with us, He's going to be with us. And when He shows up, man, everything changes. And so take a risk and step out. If God is leading you into a moment with somebody, if God is if you're sensing the moving of the Spirit in a conversation, with relatives, with a stranger, whatever, in a grocery store. Man, be bold and know that God is with you and that He's going to back you up. Um, and don't disqualify yourself. Don't let some other man disqualify you. No, step out and be faithful to the assignment that God has you on. So I hope this was an encouragement to you. Read the rest of the chapter. We'll be back right back here tomorrow with Pastor Tom. But it's good stuff. It's good stuff, guys. I love you. Have a firmly rooted day, and we'll actually be right back here at 9 with my pops for some prayer. So stay tuned. All right, guys. Love you. Peace.